I know you see the reaction online. Like, there's no way
Yeah.
to ignore it.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of let it play out, let it play out, or this is the worst thing. As it turns out, let it play out was not a good way to think about this. You assumed that something long term would happen. It did. You beat Jeff Hardy a couple times, but also in the interim, you won and then lost to Keith Lee, who experienced a lot of the same things that you did and now is experiencing a lot of the same things you are as he was released. You both came from the same place in NXT. Was there any discussion there like, what are they doing with us both? Because after the 50-50 booking has been notorious for WWE, doesn't help anybody.
So, yeah, there were many discussions amongst all of us, and this is the way I will kind of preface this. There are conversations that people have had with me in confidence that have been around for a long time, and they weren't necessarily or directly involved with what was going on, but they were watching and they've seen a lot of shit over the years.
Of course.
And I think that they all gave me good advice, and I think the advice they gave me came from a genuine place. I still keep in contact with those people. Um, I won't drop their names because it's just the nature of what we do. There's just certain conversations and certain names that shouldn't be repeated. And
Harvey
I,
Whippleman.
oh man, busted. So, but yeah, I mean, everyone knew what was going on. Everyone knew. And it was just one of those things where what is anybody really going to be able to do about this? We're not in control of the situation at all. The only thing that I can do is show up and do my job and try to make the best of it. And that's exactly what I did. And I knew going in with any company, I kind of know this. I'm not emotionally available to have my life unraveled by certain decisions that are being made that are out of my control. And I have approached it like this because I've had friends that have been in the business for a really long time, and I've seen them coming out of a company, not specifically this one, but a company, and I've watched them spiral out of control. And it's the worst thing that like you could possibly see when someone puts so much everything and then some into something, and then it's taken away from them for decisions that have absolutely nothing to do with them or by proximity to somebody else. I made a promise to myself as a grown man, I'm not going to allow myself to become one of those people. And just all of the decisions that were made and the whole run on main roster, I've never really attributed that as a reflection to who I am as a human being or a person. It's just unfortunate that we had put so much time into a really cool aspect of sports entertainment or pro wrestling. And then we just really, the fans were the ones that more than anything kind of got ripped off. I mean, there's just so much that we didn't pay off. There was so much more to do.
Yeah, there
So many
was.
actors. There was so much,
It
you know.
seemed like they, based on what I remember, it seemed like they almost booked things the exact reverse of how I would have. By the end, you were beating Jackson Riker in a minute and a half, John Morrison in a couple minutes. You beat Humberto and Ricochet, and that was right after you lost the NXT title. Because before, like after you lost the NXT title, you didn't lose. But before that, you were losing to Keith Lee and Jeff Hardy as you all are actively promoting Takeover 36. That seemed questionable to me. Like, if anything, I would have thought that maybe the loss to Joe would have spiraled you down or maybe inspired you more. It's such a natural, easy story to tell there. One or the other. A loss can make you feel like you got to rejuvenate, or it can just completely screw you up mentally. When you're taking those losses before TakeOver 36, was anybody raising concerns like in NXT? Like, did you hear of Triple H even being like, man, what the hell are you all doing?
None of those, if those conversations did take place from the top, they never were, discussed with me. But I mean, that was in the air for sure. I mean, I had so many people that I didn't even know were, I don't know, I don't like saying it like this, but like it's maybe looking up to me or looking at my career as sort of a thing that they would want to pursue for themselves. I had people coming to me going, if they're going to do this to you, what are they going to do to me? Like this became a cautionary tale to a lot of people in the company and outside the company going like, we know you, like you're not a disruptive person. You're professional. You,
Yeah.
you do everything you're asked to do. And it's like, if this can happen to you, what am I doing here? And that was like, I try to be positive. That's a hard thing for me to try to spin to people when I'm talking to them. I can't bullshit them. You know what I mean? I really didn't know what to say to them. I had no idea. And that's not the way you want your roster and your team to feel. You don't want them to feel like that. I also
happened,
kind of felt,
sorry to interrupt. It's happened before with a guy that you know now, EC3, told me that when he saw The Fiend get beat by Goldberg, he looked at it and he said, I'm not pitching this free the narrative stuff here. He's like, I'm not doing it because if they like it, it'll end up like that at best. So like that's got to be discouraging for people. You don't get into pro wrestling unless you're a creative person. You just don't. You create moves, matches, stories, characters, promos, all that stuff. As a creative person, that can't make you feel good.
definitely not. The loss to Jeff too, the way that was booked also, a lot of people actually felt like it shot the main event in the head for TakeOver with Joe. You know what I mean? It was just a lot of things that unfortunately could have been done differently and would have improved everything in general, you know.